Due to mature content, viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, he loved people.
Now he liked Wesley, yeah. Now he loved John Wayne.
He grew up as calling me sis. Hey sis, where you going? What you got?
In my career, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen someone trying to tell us where a body is.
It's just like the earth has opened up and swallowed him up. That he was, never on the face of this earth at all. If he's out here, he did not bury himself.
A map to the unknown. The case of Jimmy Davis. Tonight's NC Mystery. Also, a deadbeat boyfriend that tortures babies. Tonight, police need your help slapping this sadist with serious jail time. NC Wanted starts now.
Good evening, I'm Gerald Owens. Welcome to our third edition of NC Wanted. In the 2 weeks since we last saw you, we heard the dramatic decision in the Duke lacrosse case, and were soon stunned by the massacre at Virginia Tech. Also, back in the news, a North Carolina man who was released from prison after serving 19 years for a crime he didn't commit. These major events have sparked a firestorm of debate about the ethical use of DNA surveillance, gun laws, how to deal with the mentally ill, and fairness in the judicial process. In the coming weeks, we invite you to join us as we take on these hot-button topics. Now, let's switch to a matter of immediate concern. Tonight, a violent serial robber is on the loose, and investigators are so worried about this guy, we decided to make it our lead story. Here's what we know. In recent months, authorities in Raleigh and Cary believe one man is behind a series of at least 5 brutal armed robberies at local convenience stores. You can see that in just a short time, this serial robber has cut an erratic swath through our area. And in some cases, the gunman walked in, shot the clerk, and left without taking any money. Through video surveillance and eyewitness accounts, he's a black male in his late 20s to early 30s. He wears a navy blue jacket with gray piping and a black baseball cap. He tends to wear black gloves, dark pants, and white tennis shoes. If you know anything, call us right now at 1-866-43-WANTED or log on to our website at ncwanted.com. You don't have to give your identity. Now, just when you think you've heard about the worst offenders to walk the earth, a case like this next one comes along. It's so disturbing, so offensive, we struggled with how to tell you this story in a responsible way. We decided the priority must always be to give you enough information to help police capture this fugitive. It's February of 2007 in Durham. Just another routine day for this mother and her live-in boyfriend. And that means another routine day of torture for her youngest child, a baby still in diapers. As usual, this mother, whose known alias is Pinky Funderburk, goes to work while her boyfriend, Sean Marquise Tapp, stays home to care for her 2 children. Each day, Pinky returns to see evidence of cruel injuries to the baby. She accepts the excuses that Sean Tapp provides her. She looks the other way to appease him, which only enables her lover to continue day after day. Finally, one night, a friend of Pinky's notices the injuries and is horrified. The friend insists Pinky take the baby to the emergency room, where the on-duty nurse admits the child for urgent examination. The nurse and the on-call doctor soon notice not only the current injuries, but evidence of weeks and months of repeated trauma all over the baby's body. The medical team discovers a fractured pelvis, head trauma, a split upper lip, boiling water burns around the hip and groin, cigarette burns inside the baby's ear, and third-degree burns to the baby's skin as the direct result of a hot iron. On top of the scars, burns, and bruises, the medical staff determines the baby is acutely malnourished and suffers from severe infections that have never been treated. Mercifully, authorities assume legal custody of both children. Pinky is arrested and charged with felony child abuse with serious injury. But despite a call to the proper authorities, her boyfriend, Sean Marquise Tapp, manages to slip away and avoid arrest.
African-American male.
Obviously, anyone who tortures babies has serious psychological problems and should be considered extremely dangerous. Authorities need your help to bring Sean Marquise Tapp to justice. He was last seen in Durham on February 27th of this year That's when authorities went to his residence to arrest him on charges of felony child abuse with serious injury. Tapp has two different looks, one with glasses, one without. He has close relatives that live in Durham, and that's where he may be hiding out. It's time to shut this guy down and keep him away from children. If you think you've seen Sean Marquise Tapp, call us right now at 1-866-43-WANTED or log on to our website at ncwanted.com. As always, you can remain anonymous. This next case involves a fugitive that probably has no idea his victim managed to survive. His name is Juan Pablo Gayton Barbosa, a Mexican national with several aliases, including the nickname Nara. Gayton Barbosa is an illegal alien who was given a place to live and work by some generous residents in Wake Forest. But Gayton Barbosa ended up turning on the very people who showed him kindness. Tonight, we bring you this horrifying story straight from the survivor herself.
We, being me, my roommate, and my 8-year-old daughter, lived on 27 acres in Wake Forest. Our closest neighbor was about 1/4 of a mile through heavy woods. So I would see him as I was taking my daughter to school and say hey or whatever. If we had extra food, we gave it to him. I mean, he didn't ever really acknowledge me. He only talked to my roommate. That's all he was interested in. And then she had stopped working with him for like 3 months, but he continued to call her and like harass her, and he was in love with her, obsessed with her. It's December 6, 2004. I came home from work like I normally do. I picked up my daughter and pulled in the driveway and went into the house. Nothing seemed different. I walked in through the living room and put my coat down, and our 2 dogs ran out. And then I went to my bedroom, and my bedroom door was shut, which is normally not shut, so I thought that was odd. And as soon as I opened up the door, he came straight out, and he came straight at me. And he had a baseball bat and a gun, and I think he had been waiting there all day, and I think he just, you know, when you're sitting waiting, and I think he just had steam to boiling, and when she didn't walk in, he started asking me, where is she, where is she, where is she? And he speaks heavy Spanish, but that's what he said in English. And I said, well, I don't know where she is. She's probably at work. And he started hitting me in the head with a baseball bat. My daughter was back at the door. She saw him hitting me, and she didn't see the gun, but she saw the back of him. I told my daughter to run, and she ran through the woods to the neighbors. And that's all that I saw of her. He continued to hit me, and everything got pretty fuzzy. But then I think something in my head said, if I don't get out of this house, he's gonna kill me. So I somehow ran to the door and got outside. But I guess at this point I was really tired after being hit so many times. And he caught up with me, and he spun me around, and I was trying to struggle to get away from him, and he shot me in the chest twice. And I remember falling, and I guess I passed out, but I came to, and he was gone. So I started going past my house through the woods to get to my daughter the 1/4 of a mile, and there was pain, and it started hurting, and I'm sure I was in shock. Finally got to her house. My daughter was in the bathroom. The ladies had just had a litter of puppies, and my daughter was standing in the shower, standing up holding a puppy, and she was in shock. I feel like we took them of her innocence. And I tell people, lock your doors. If you have an alarm system, for God's sake, turn it on. You know, we just didn't turn it on. And he actually came in through a window that was open in my daughter's room. You know that there are horrible, horrible people out there. I mean, he stole our life. He stole our house. He basically took everything. You know, I don't think he's in Mexico. I think he's working for somebody in the States. I don't want him to hurt anybody else. It just takes one person, you know, to see him or know where he is. And maybe we'll find him.
It's a miracle this woman survived, but tonight her attacker is still on the loose, and police need your help. Gayton Barbosa has a distinguishing physical feature that jumps out at you when you see him. It's his extremely yellow-stained teeth. Gayton Barbosa is an illegal alien who can stay under the radar working construction and landscaping. He also takes on smaller handyman projects for individual residents. If you think you've seen Juan Pablo Gayton Barbosa, call us now at 1-866-43-WANTED or log on to our website at ncwanted.com. You don't have to reveal your identity.
Coming up, this drifter from Dunn visited his mother every Mother's Day. But one year, Jimmy Davis disappeared without a trace. Years passed, and Jimmy's mother died with a broken heart. Tonight, 18 years after his disappearance, authorities have a new clue. A homemade map that indicates Jimmy Davis was the victim of foul play. It's a map to the unknown. The case of Jimmy Nelson Davis. Tonight's NC Mystery is next.
Welcome back to this third edition of NC Wanted. Tonight's NC Mystery takes us to Harnett County in the small town of Dunn. It's normally a quiet and peaceful place, but for the last 18 years, one family in Dunn has had no sense of peace or justice. They're the family of Jimmy Nelson Davis. For years, investigators weren't sure whether Jimmy should be classified as a missing person or a victim of foul play. But the family knew Jimmy. They insisted it had to be foul play. Tonight, authorities have a new clue that points the investigation in that very direction.
It's just like the earth has opened up and swallowed him up. That he was, never on the face of this earth at all.
Jimmy Nelson Davis could be called a nomad were it not for the strong ties he maintains to his family in Dunn. Davis works construction, often traveling from state to state, town to town, cleaning up debris left behind by coastal storms. In the fall of 1989, Hurricane Hugo tears up the southeast and offers Jimmy a lot of work on the road. He doesn't mind the traveling, but what he really loves is coming home to his family.
Laughing guy, happy kind of person. He loved kids. I remember him being the guy that, it was no stranger to him.
No matter where Jimmy finds himself working, there are certain events back in Dunn he never misses.
3 days in the year, we knew he was going to show up. And that was my mom's birthday, Mother's Day, and Christmas.
We always stayed in contact with one another, and we always lived closely.
In early November, Jimmy is in Myrtle Beach, where he's been hired to do some construction and debris removal.
The week before, he had been working with a gentleman in South Carolina doing construction work, which was his normal job.
On this job, Jimmy's boss picks him up on Monday at his mobile home in Dunn and drives him down to Myrtle Beach. Then, at the end of the week, his boss returns him home again. On this Friday night, as Jimmy is dropped off, he's greeted by his girlfriend, who lives with him in the mobile home.
According to Miss Blue, his girlfriend, the next day, a gentleman comes by and Jimmy willingly gets in a vehicle with this unidentified male. The boss man comes back 2 or 3 days later, and he's not there.
5 days go by, and there is no word from Jimmy. His girlfriend goes to police to file a missing persons report, but with no evidence except the fact that Jimmy left with an unknown man, there are few leads police can pursue.
They didn't have any leads to focus on. They didn't have anywhere to look for him. They conducted the standard checks as far as talking to family members, the last person to see him, that sort of thing. But after a while, it ran into, basically a dead end.
And a dead end is where it remains for a year. No one sees or hears from Jimmy Davis. Events come and go in Dunn. The Davis' family says, if alive, he would never miss.
He never showed up for no more birthdays. He never showed up to my sister's funeral. He didn't come to his mother's funeral.
The family even goes down to Myrtle Beach to look for Jimmy.
So we went down in there and we stayed. And we searched and we put up signs and asked questions. My sister that's here now, she went in all the little cafes and all the little bypasses, service stations and all around, asked them, did they know him? And nobody knew him.
We've conducted numerous background checks to see, as he got a job in another state, as he moved, as he, applied for a driver's license somewhere else, and all of them have come up negative.
The investigation has few leads until June of 2006, when someone sends a letter to the Dunn Police Department. a letter that would shock every person involved in the case. Jimmy Davis's family in Dunn has spent the last 2 decades searching for their brother and wondering how he could have simply vanished 18 years earlier. Then suddenly, in June of 2006, a map is delivered to the Dunn Police Department, claiming what everyone had always feared, that Jimmy Davis wasn't just missing, he'd been murdered.
In my career, I've never seen anything like this, and this is one of the things that piqued my interest in this case. I've never seen someone trying to tell us where a body is.
I went out and got my paper, and I opened it and I started reading, and I was like, oh my God, I knew he was dead. I knew something had happened to him. So I got on the phone and I called the Dunn police, and I told them I thought that might be my brother.
The map contains some vital information and some that's confusing. For instance, the last name on the map reads Davidie. Could it be a careless mistake, or could the map maker have been referring to someone else? There seems to be no mistake in the map's directions.
It's obviously a person who knows the area. The map was detailed enough, and there are certain things in the map which, obviously the person was familiar with the area.
When they follow the directions to the place marked body, they discover that the map maker is indicating the field behind the trailer in Dunn, where Jimmy Davis used to live.
This trailer here, it was another trailer in front of it. You can see where the grounds have, where something has been removed. That's where his trailer was. Believe it or not, this is the only lead that we've had that was concrete. You know what I'm saying? We hear things and people talk and nobody's seen nothing. This map is the only thing that we could really say that could point us in a direction.
A tree line over here, and these are going to be the areas we concentrate in, is the tree line up here and the tree line over here.
On a cold winter morning, the SBI brings in specialists to take a detailed look below the surface of the field using an electromagnetic profiler. This device looks below the ground to find metal or disturbed soil, even if it's been 18 years since a body had been buried. Family members watch anxiously, hoping the cold, hard ground will yield the answers they've long been waiting for.
If anything is found, I'm not looking at it as a day of his death. I'm looking at a day of rebirth. That, finally, he's going to be laid to rest in a proper place.
Sadly, by the end of the search, no body is found in the field.
It's gonna be okay. It's okay.
If nothing else, the map has confirmed what most people secretly suspected all along, that Jimmy Davis is dead, killed by an unknown assailant. Although family members say Davis was a happy-go-lucky guy, he had his own brushes with death before. In 1985, Davis served time for assault with a deadly weapon when he shot someone during a fight at the mobile home park. And shortly before he disappeared, he'd been stabbed several times and treated at the local hospital.
And on the report, he did not identify the individual who stabbed him.
In one of the more bizarre incidents that happened within a few years of Jimmy's disappearance, family members say someone leaves a bag of bloody clothes in a shed behind Jimmy's mother's house.
There was a jacket, a shirt, and a sweater, and they were in a plastic bag, and they had blood stains on them. We don't know how they got there, who put them there.
Investigators say they have no official record of that bag of bloody clothes. Today, all they have is a crude hand-drawn map and the possibility of clues that lurk deep beneath the earth.
There is someone out there trying to specifically give us a location where his body's at in the hopes that we recover it. He basically just vanished off the face of the earth.
I want to think that this is God's work. That's what I would like to think. Whoever it was couldn't live with themselves for knowing that kind of information.
Whoever sent the map, it has stirred up hope in the family that Jimmy might be returned to them someday. though no one believes he is still alive.
I really think somebody killed him. I really do. And in my mind, as I picture it, as tall as he was, it took more than 2 people to kill him.
Just put him to rest. Just take him home and put him with his family. So we just take him home. Just take him home with us and know that he's there.
Now, we need to make one thing clear. During his adult life, Jimmy got involved with some violent people. Take, for example, his explosive relationship with on-again, off-again girlfriend Agnes Blue. Court records show Miss Blue faced serious charges, including felony possession of a weapon of mass destruction, felony possession of stolen goods, and hit and run. Although Miss Blue refused our request for an on-camera interview, she did speak directly with us. She described her ex-boyfriend as the type of man who would leave her from time to be with other women. To this day, the map is the best clue investigators have to work with. When we come back, we'll recap tonight's cases and tell you about another controversial case we're working on right now. Stay with us. All right, time to review tonight's cases and see if you can provide any information. First, he's the serial robber who shoots convenience store clerks at will. He wears the same signature outfit to all of his robberies. Investigators in Raleigh and Cary are worried about his indiscriminate method of shooting clerks, whether he takes money or not. Next is a boyfriend you should never bring home to mom. His name is Sean Marquise Tapp, and he's known to torture young children. It's time for you to help investigators give Tapp a new home in jail. He has strong ties to the Durham area, and that's where he may be hiding out. Next, an illegal alien who was given food, shelter, and work by residents of Wake Forest. But Juan Pablo Gayton Barbosa turned violent and nearly killed one of the very people who showed him kindness. Gayton Barbosa goes by the nickname Nara. He tends to work as a handyman in some type of construction. And finally, the cold case involving the disappearance of Dunn resident Jimmy Davis. Because of a homemade map that recently fell into the laps of law enforcement, this case is now considered a homicide. If you know anything about these cases, we urge you to have the courage to make that phone call. You don't have to be dragged into this. You can remain anonymous. You can do it. Call us now at 1-866-43-WANTED. That's 1-866-439-2683. Or log on to our website at ncwanted.com. Our hotline operators are available day or night. Due to special programming, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll return to our normal time on May 19th when we'll bring you a 35-year-old cold case with scandalous implications. It's the case in Johnston County involving the murder of Bonnie Neighbors, a young mother found dead in a discarded migrant camp with her newborn baby still with her and still alive. Today, Bonnie Neighbors' baby is an adult, and the story will blow you away. So as we say goodnight, remember, together we can fight to preserve the quality of life we hold dear in North Carolina. I'm Gerald Owens. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again in 2 weeks with another episode of NC Wanted.